Captain Deho stared at the screen in front of him. The data made no sense. According to every galactic map, this solar system was empty. No planets with life, no space stations, nothing worth visiting. But his ship's sensors told a different story. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures from 3 planets," said Lieutenant Ki-jun from his position at the sensor station. "And there are artificial structures in orbit around each one." Deho moved closer to the main display. The Kepler 442 system stretched out before them, 200 light-years from Earth. His exploration ship, the New Horizon, had come here following old star charts. They were supposed to catalog empty worlds and move on. Instead, they found something impossible. "Run the scans again," Deho ordered. "There must be an error." Dr. Hana looked up from her workstation. As the ship's science officer, she had seen many strange things during their 5-year mission, but this was different. "Captain, the readings are correct. I'm detecting industrial activity on a massive scale. Manufacturing plants, mining operations, and what looks like cities." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. Someone had been living in this system for a long time. Someone who didn't want to be found. "Take us closer to the 3rd planet," Deho commanded. "But keep our weapons powered down. We don't want to start a fight." As the New Horizon moved deeper into the system, more details became clear. The planets weren't just inhabited. They were thriving. Orbital stations the size of small cities rotated around each world. Massive ships moved between the planets carrying cargo and passengers. It was a complete civilization. "Captain, we're being scanned," reported Ki-jun. "Multiple sources. Very advanced technology." Before Deho could respond, his communications officer spoke up. "Sir, incoming transmission. It's in Korean." The main screen flickered to life. A woman appeared, middle-aged, with sharp eyes and a confident expression. She wore a simple gray uniform with no markings that Deho recognized. "Welcome to the Kepler 442 system," the woman said. "I am Administrator Bo-Ra of the Free Colony. We have been monitoring your approach. Please state your intentions." Deho stepped forward. "I am Captain Deho of the Earthship New Horizon. We are on an exploration mission. We had no idea anyone lived here. Our records show this system as uninhabited." Bo-Ra smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. "Your records are wrong about many things, Captain. We have been here for 300 years. Please follow the coordinates we are sending you. We have much to discuss." The transmission ended. Deho looked at his crew. They all had the same questions written on their faces. How had an entire human civilization remained hidden for 3 centuries, and why? The coordinates led them to a massive space station orbiting the 3rd planet. As they approached, Deho could see it was unlike anything he had ever seen. The station was enormous, easily 10 times larger than the biggest Earth stations. But, more importantly, it was beautiful. Elegant curves and flowing lines made it look more like art than engineering. "Captain, their docking systems are more advanced than ours," said his pilot, Ensign Deho. "They're taking control of our ship remotely, but gently. I've never seen technology like this." The New Horizon settled into a docking bay that could have held 5 ships their size. As soon as they landed, the bay doors closed and atmosphere flooded in. Through the viewports, they could see people waiting for them, all human, all looking remarkably healthy and confident. Bo-Ra met them at the airlock. She was accompanied by a tall man in a military uniform and a younger woman wearing a scientist's coat. The military man introduced himself as Commander Sung-ho. The scientist was Dr. Min Seok. "Follow me," Bo-Ra said. You have many questions. We will answer what we can. She led them through corridors that seemed to stretch forever. The station was not just big, it was a city in space. They passed markets, parks, schools, and residential areas. Children played in open spaces while their parents worked or relaxed. It was like nothing Day-Ho had seen before. How many people live here? Dr. Hana asked. On this station? About 2 million, Bo-Ra replied casually. In the entire system, we have just over 50 million. Day-Ho stopped walking. 50 million? How is that possible? Earth's colonial office has no record of any colony ships coming to this system. That's because we were never supposed to be here, Commander Sung-Ho said. Our ancestors came from the colony ship Determination. It was lost 300 years ago during the first wave of human expansion. Everyone assumed it was destroyed. They reached a large observation deck that looked out over the planet below. The world was green and blue, with cities that sparkled, like jewels. Ships moved between the surface and orbit in steady streams. The Determination was damaged, Bo-Ra continued. Badly damaged. The captain made an emergency landing on the second planet. Half the colonists died in the crash. The other half survived, but the ship was beyond repair. We were stranded. Dr. Min-seok stepped forward. For the first 50 years, we focused on survival, building shelters, growing food, establishing basic industries. But we also made a decision that changed everything. What decision? Day-Ho asked. We decided to stay hidden, Bo-Ra said. We watched as humanity spread across the galaxy. We saw how Earth and the colonies interacted with alien species, how they accepted junior status in the Galactic Confederation, how they let others make decisions for them. She turned to face the captain directly. We chose a different path. Instead of seeking help, we helped ourselves. Instead of asking for permission, we built our own future. Dr. Hana was taking notes on her tablet. But surely Earth could have helped you, provided technology, supplies, expertise. Commander Sung-Ho laughed. Captain Day-Ho, what kind of weapons does your ship carry? Standard. Plasma cannons and defensive shields, Day-Ho replied, confused by the change of topic. Our civilian transport ships have better weapons than that, Sung-Ho said. And our military vessels? They could destroy your entire Earth fleet without taking damage. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Day-Ho looked at his science. Officer, Dr. Hana was studying her tablet with a frown. Captain? She said quietly. I'm reading energy signatures from their ships that shouldn't be possible. Their power sources are generating more energy than our best fusion reactors, but I can't identify the technology. Bo-Ra nodded. 300 years of focused development will do that. While the rest of humanity was learning to fit in with alien society, we were learning to exceed it. They spent the next several hours touring the station and the planet. Below. Everything Day-Ho saw reinforced the same message. These people had not just survived isolation, they had thrived in it. Their technology was decades ahead of anything he knew. Their society was prosperous and confident. Their military was clearly powerful. But there was something else, something that made him uncomfortable. You've been watching us, he said to Bo-Ra as they returned to the station. Not just our ship, all of humanity, haven't you? Bo-Ra smiled again. This time it was sad rather than cold. Captain, we have listening posts throughout this region of space. We know about every human colony, every trade agreement, every diplomatic insult your people have endured. We know how the aliens treat. You like children who need supervision? She paused at a viewport that showed the bustling activity of the spaceport. "We know because we've been preparing. The question is, preparing for what?" As if in answer to her question, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Commander Sung-ho received a message on his communicator and his expression grew dark. "Administrator," he said, "long-range sensors are detecting a Confederation patrol approaching the system. 3 ships, Veltharian and Zephyrian design." Bo-Ra sighed. "It seems our isolation is about to end, Captain. The question now is whether it ends peacefully or not." Dae-ho felt a chill run down his spine. He had a feeling that the galaxy was about to change in ways no one could predict. The alarms stopped, but the tension on the station remained high. Administrator Bo-Ra led Captain Dae-ho and his crew to what she called the command center. It was a massive room filled with displays showing every part of the solar system. Dozens of people worked at stations, monitoring ships, planets, and space itself. "We have maybe 6 hours before the Confederation patrol reaches us," Commander Sung-ho announced. 3 ships. The lead vessel is the Veltharian cruiser Dominant Force. Dr. Hana looked worried. "Captain, Veltharian ships are some of the most powerful in the Confederation fleet. Their shields and weapons are far superior to anything humanity has." Engineer Tai Min overheard her comment. He was a stocky man with grease-stained hands and a confident smile. "Would you like to see what we consider powerful?" he asked. Bo-Ra nodded. "Show them, Tai Min. It's time they understood what we've built here." The engineer led them through a transport tube that carried them deep into the station's core. They emerged in a chamber so vast that Dae-ho couldn't see the other end. Massive machines hummed with power, their surfaces glowing with energy patterns he didn't recognize. "Fusion reactors?" Dr. Hana asked. Tai Min shook his head. "We moved beyond fusion 200 years ago. These are quantum cascade generators. They convert matter directly into energy at near-perfect efficiency. One of these generators produces more power than Earth's entire planetary grid." He walked them past machines that defied explanation. "We also developed artificial gravity control, temporal field manipulation, and something we call reality anchoring. When you're isolated and facing possible extinction, you learn to think beyond normal limits." Dae-ho stared at the technology around him. "This is impossible. The physics alone—" "The physics you know," Tai Min corrected. "We've had 3 centuries to explore new theories. When you don't have aliens telling you what's possible and what isn't, you discover that the universe has many more possibilities." They took another transport to the military sector. Commander Sung-ho met them there, along with Admiral Hyun-woo, a stern woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. Behind them stretched a vast hangar filled with ships unlike anything in the known galaxy. "Our defensive fleet," Admiral Hyun-woo said simply. 200 ships of various classes, each one capable of defeating any Confederation vessel in single combat. The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They had sleek lines and smooth surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. Energy patterns flowed across their hulls like living things. Dr. Hana was frantically taking readings with her scanner. "Captain, I can't get accurate readings on their armor or weapons. It's like they're partially phased out of normal space." "Close enough," Admiral Hyun-woo said. "Our ships exist in a state of quantum flux. They can become solid to deliver attacks or phase to avoid damage. The technology is based on the same principles as our power generators." Lieutenant Ki-jun, who had been quiet throughout the tour, finally spoke up. "Why are you showing us this? You could have kept your secret. Let us leave and never tell anyone what we found." Bora exchanged glances with her military commanders. Because the secret was always temporary. We always knew that someday someone would find us. We've been preparing for this moment for decades. She led them to another observation deck, this one showing the second planet in the system. Unlike the green world they had seen before, this one was covered in industrial complexes and mining operations. Huge ships moved materials between facilities in an endless dance of construction. For 300 years we've been building, Bora continued. Not just for ourselves, but for all humanity. We watched as Earth and the colonies accepted junior partner status with alien species. We saw how humans were treated like children who needed guidance and protection. Admiral Hyun Woo stepped forward. We decided that humanity deserved better, but we also knew that better wouldn't be given to us. It would have to be taken. The implications of her words hit Dae-ho like a physical blow. You're planning to fight the Confederation? If necessary, Bora replied. But we're hoping to avoid that. Our preferred solution is for humanity to unite under our protection and declare independence from alien control. Dr. Min Seok, who had been working at a computer terminal, looked up with concern. Administrator, the approaching ships are accelerating. They'll be here in 4 hours, not 6. Commander Sung-ho activated a communication device. All stations, this is command. Implement Protocol Yellow. Repeat, Protocol Yellow is now in effect. Throughout the station, lights shifted from normal, white to a soft amber color. The activity level increased noticeably as people moved with purpose to new positions. What's Protocol Yellow? Dr. Hana asked. Defensive preparation, Admiral Hyun-woo explained. We're powering up our shield systems and moving our fleet into position. We're not planning to attack, but we won't be caught unprepared either. Tae-min was monitoring several displays showing energy levels throughout the system. Captain Dae-ho, has your ship ever encountered a planetary defense grid? A few times, Dae-ho replied. Usually just orbital platforms with plasma cannons and missile launchers. Our defense grid covers the entire solar system, Tae-min said with pride. Energy barriers that can stop any known weapon, gravity field generators that can disable ships without destroying them, and if necessary, weapons that can crack planets. The casual mention of planet-cracking weapons made Dae-ho's blood run cold. He was beginning to understand that these people weren't just more advanced than the rest of humanity, they were potentially more powerful than the entire Galactic Confederation. Dr. Min Seok called out from his station. I'm getting detailed scans of the approaching ships. The lead vessel is the dominant force under Admiral Krixtal. He has a reputation for aggressive tactics and little patience for what he calls inferior species. Bora's expression darkened. Krixtal. We know about him. He was responsible for the forced evacuation of the human colony on Kepler 186b 5 years ago. Claimed the planet was needed for Veltharian expansion. 12,000 humans were relocated to a barely habitable world, Commander Sung-ho added. 3,000 died in the first year from diseases and resource shortages. Admiral Hyun-woo pulled up a holographic display showing the approaching ships. Krixtal won't be interested in negotiation. He'll see an unauthorized human presence and demand immediate evacuation. What if we try to explain the situation? Dr. Hana suggested. Tell him this is a legitimate human colony with a valid claim to the system? Bora laughed bitterly. Dr. Hana, have you ever tried to explain human rights to a Veltharian admiral? They consider us a barely evolved species that requires their guidance to survive. Lieutenant Ki-jun was studying the tactical displays. Administrator, Why are you so confident your technology can defeat theirs? The Confederation has been developing military technology for thousands of years, Engineer Tae-min answered before Bo-Ra could respond. Because they've been refining the same basic principles for those thousands of years. They've grown comfortable with their superiority. We've been innovating out of necessity. He brought up a comparison chart showing Confederation technology versus their own. Their ships use conventional fusion power and kinetic weapons. Ours use quantum energy and reality manipulation weapons. Their shields block known forms of energy. Our weapons create entirely new forms of energy. Dr. Min Seok looked up from his sensors again. 3 hours to contact. The lead ship is broadcasting standard Confederation Authority codes. Bo-Ra turned to Captain Dae-ho. Captain, you have a choice to make. You can leave now and report what you found to Earth, or you can stay and witness what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Dae-ho looked at his crew. They were scientists and explorers, not soldiers. But they were also witnesses to possibly the most important moment in human history. We'll stay, he decided. But Administrator, I have to ask, are you prepared for the consequences if this goes wrong, if you start a war with the Confederation? Admiral Hyun-woo smiled coldly. Captain, the war started 300 years ago when they decided humans weren't good enough to govern themselves. We've just been preparing to finish it, as if summoned. By her words, alarms began sounding again. This time, they didn't stop. Contact in 2 hours, Dr. Min Seok announced. Admiral Krixtal is demanding immediate communication with whoever is in charge of this illegal occupation. Bo-Ra straightened her uniform and walked toward the communication station. Put him through. It's time to introduce the galaxy to the Free Human Republic. The main communication screen flickered to life, showing a creature that made Captain Dae-ho's skin crawl. Admiral Krixtal was a typical Veltharian, tall, thin, with pale blue skin and 4 arms. His large black eyes showed no emotion, and his voice carried the kind of authority that expected absolute obedience. I am Admiral Krixtal of the Galactic Confederation Navy, the alien said. You are in violation of Confederation law by occupying this system without authorization. Identify yourself immediately. Administrator Bo-Ra stepped in front of the camera. She looked calm and confident, showing no sign of fear or submission. I am Administrator Bo-Ra of the Free Human Republic. This system has been our home for 300 years. We recognize no Confederation authority over our territory. The alien's expression shifted to what Dae-ho recognized as surprise, then quickly to anger. Impossible. There are no authorized human settlements in this region. You are clearly pirates or illegal colonists. You have 24 hours to evacuate this system or face the consequences. We are neither pirates nor illegal anything, Bo-Ra replied firmly. We are the descendants of the colony ship Determination, lost during humanity's first expansion. We have developed this system through our own effort and sacrifice. We will not be leaving. Admiral Krixtal's 4 arms gestured dismissively. Human colony ships were primitive vessels with barely adequate life support. No human colony could survive 3 centuries without Confederation support and guidance. Your story is obviously fabricated. Captain Dae-ho saw diplomat So Young step forward. She was a young woman with an earnest expression and the kind of hope in her eyes that came from believing in peaceful solutions. Admiral Krixtal, So Young said respectfully, perhaps we could arrange a meeting to discuss this situation? There may be a misunderstanding that can be resolved through negotiation. The Veltharian admiral barely looked at her. There is no misunderstanding. Humans are not capable of independent stellar colonization. This system was surveyed and claimed by the Confederation 80 years ago. Any human presence here is illegal and will be removed. Bo-Ra's expression hardened. Admiral, I suggest you review your history. Humans were traveling between stars before the Confederation even knew we existed. We don't need your permission to live in our own homes. Your homes? Krixtal's voice carried a tone of contempt that was universal among species. Humans are junior members of civilized society. You require supervision and guidance to prevent you from harming yourselves and others. This illegal settlement proves that point perfectly. Engineer Tae-min was monitoring the approaching ships from his station. Administrator, they're scanning our defensive installations. Their scans are being blocked by our stealth fields, but they're trying very hard to see what we have. Admiral Krixtal seemed to hear something from his own crew, because his attention shifted away from the camera for a moment. When he looked back, his expression was even more hostile. My sensors indicate significant industrial activity in this system, he said. Industrial activity far beyond what primitive human technology could achieve. You are clearly using stolen Confederation technology. This makes your situation much worse. Commander Sung-ho moved closer to Bo-Ra. Admiral, he said in a voice that carried military authority, our technology was developed by human scientists using human innovation. We have stolen nothing from anyone. Impossible, Krixtal repeated. Humans lack the intelligence and creativity for advanced technological development. You are using stolen technology, or you are being supplied by enemies of the Confederation. Dr. Hana couldn't stay quiet any longer. Admiral, with respect, humans have made significant contributions to galactic science and technology. Our medical advances alone have saved millions of lives across dozens of species. The alien admiral looked at her as if she had said something ridiculous. Human medical knowledge is based on Confederation research that was simplified for your limited understanding. Humans contribute labor and raw materials to galactic civilization, nothing more. The insult hung in the air like poison. Captain Dae-ho felt his anger rising, but he forced himself to stay calm. He could see the same struggle on the faces of every human in the command center. Diplomat So Young tried again. Admiral, surely we can find a peaceful solution. Perhaps the Confederation could recognize this colony's right to exist in exchange for technology sharing or trade agreements. Admiral Krixtal's laugh was like the sound of metal scraping on metal. You misunderstand the situation completely. The Confederation does not negotiate with illegal settlements. You will evacuate this system within 48 hours, or my fleet will remove you by force. And if we refuse? Bo-Ra asked quietly. Then you will be destroyed, Krixtal replied without emotion. Your ships will be eliminated, your installations will be demolished, and any survivors will be relocated to appropriate human-controlled worlds under Confederation supervision. The communication ended abruptly. The command center fell silent, except for the hum of machinery and the quiet conversations of technicians at their stations. Admiral Hyun-woo spoke first. 48 hours. Just enough time for him to call for reinforcements if he thinks he needs them. Dr. Min Seok was studying his sensor readings. He's moving his ships into what he thinks is an attack formation. Standard Confederation tactics for dealing with primitive opponents. Engineer Tae-min looked up from his displays. Should I activate the planetary defense grid? Bo-Ra was quiet for a long moment, staring at the blank communication screen. Finally, she turned to address everyone in the command center. "For 300 years we have lived in peace," she said. "We have built a civilization based on human values and human determination. We have never attacked anyone or threatened anyone. And now, an alien admiral tells us that we don't have the right to exist in our own homes." She paused, looking around, the room at faces that showed anger, determination, and resolve. "He tells us that humans are too primitive to govern themselves, too stupid to develop technology, too weak to deserve respect." Her voice grew stronger with each word. "He is about to learn how wrong he is." Commander Sung Ho activated the station's internal communication system. "All personnel, this is command. Protocol Red is now in effect. Repeat, Protocol Red is now in effect. This is not a drill." Throughout the station, the amber lights shifted to red. The activity level increased dramatically as people moved to battle stations with the efficiency of long practice. Captain Dae-ho felt like he was watching history unfold. "Administrator, are you sure about this? The Confederation has thousands of ships. Even if you win here, they'll send more." Bo-Ra smiled grimly. "Captain, you're thinking like someone who believes in the Confederation's power. We've been watching them for decades. We know their capabilities, their tactics, their weaknesses. More importantly, we know something they've forgotten." "What's that?" Dr. Hana asked. "The difference between fear and respect," Admiral Hyun-woo answered. "They rule through fear. They make species afraid to challenge them. But fear only works if your opponents believe you're stronger than they are." Engineer Taemin's displays showed massive energy buildups throughout the system. "Defensive grid coming online. All weapons platforms armed and ready. Fleet moving to intercept positions." Diplomat So Young looked desperate. "There has to be another way. If we start shooting, people will die. Maybe thousands of people." Bo-Ra's expression softened slightly. "So Young, diplomacy only works when both sides want to find a peaceful solution. Admiral Krikstal has already decided to destroy us. The only question now is whether we fight back or let ourselves be murdered." Dr. Min Seok announced from his station. "Admiral Krikstal is launching fighter squadrons, 24 small craft, heading toward our outer defense perimeter." "He's testing our defenses," Commander Sung Ho observed. "Standard Confederation procedure. Send expendable fighters to see what kind of resistance they face." Admiral Hyun-woo activated her command interface. "Let him test. When those fighters encounter our reality anchors, he'll get quite a surprise." Captain Dae-ho watched the tactical display as the enemy fighters approached what looked like empty space. Then suddenly, 12 of them simply stopped moving. They didn't explode or catch fire. They just froze in place as if time itself had stopped around them. "What just happened?" Lieutenant Ki-jun asked. Engineer Taemin smiled proudly. "Temporal stasis fields. Those ships are now trapped outside normal time flow. The pilots are unharmed, but their ships won't move until we decide to release them." The remaining fighters turned back toward their motherships, but 3 more were caught by invisible energy nets that dragged them toward the nearest human installation. "Capture, not destruction," Bo-Ra explained. "We want Admiral Krikstal to understand that we're not bloodthirsty. We're just stronger than he is." The communication screen activated again. Admiral Krikstal's face showed an emotion that Captain Dae-ho had never seen on a Veltharian before. Confusion. "What have you done to my fighters?" the Admiral demanded. "We've given them a demonstration of human technology," Bo-Ra replied calmly. "Your pilots are unharmed. They'll be returned to you after you leave our system." "This is impossible." "Krikstal, said, but his voice lacked its earlier confidence. No human technology could— Admiral, Bo-Ra interrupted. You have— Administrator Bo-Ra stood in front of the main communication array, preparing to address not just the space station, but every human in the Kepler 442 system. Captain Day-Ho watched as technicians made final adjustments to ensure the signal would reach all 50 million colonists across 3 planets and dozens of orbital installations. Citizens of the Free Human Republic, Bo-Ra began, her voice carrying to every corner of human space in the system. Today, we face a choice that our ancestors hoped we would never have to make. An alien fleet has entered our home system and ordered us to abandon everything we have built over 3 centuries. Throughout the command center, people stopped their work to listen. On the displays, Day-Ho could see similar scenes playing out across the system as humans gathered around communication screens. Admiral Crixtall of the Galactic Confederation believes that humans are too primitive to govern ourselves. He believes we are too weak to defend our homes. He believes we should be grateful for alien supervision and control. Bo-Ra's voice grew stronger with each word. He is about to learn that he is wrong about everything. General Hyun-woo stepped up beside her. Unlike Admiral Hyun-woo, who commanded the Space Forces, General Hyun-woo was responsible for planetary defense and ground forces. She was a compact woman with scars on her hands that spoke of practical experience with weapons and warfare. "Citizens, this is General Hyun-woo," she announced. "In the next few hours, you may see things that will frighten you. You may hear weapons firing and see ships moving in combat formations. I want you to know that we are prepared for this moment. We have been preparing for 300 years. Dr. Min Seok activated a system-wide display that showed the true extent of their defensive capabilities. Captain Day-Ho's breath caught in his throat as he saw the scope of what the colonists had built. 200 warships of various sizes moved into position throughout the system. Some were as large as Earth's biggest vessels, while others were smaller but clearly more advanced. Energy fields that had been invisible before now showed up on sensors as massive barriers surrounding each planet. "Our defensive grid," Engineer Taman explained quietly to Day-Ho's crew, "covers every major body in the system. Energy barriers that can stop any known weapon. Gravity manipulation systems that can disable ships without destroying them. And, if absolutely necessary, weapons that can reshape matter at the atomic level." Dr. Hana was studying her tricorder with amazement. "Captain, the energy levels I'm reading are impossible. According to everything I know about physics, they shouldn't be able to generate this much power without creating black holes. That's because we understand physics differently than the rest of the galaxy," Dr. Min Seok said with pride. "When you're isolated and facing extinction, you learn to think beyond conventional limits." On the main tactical display, Admiral Crixtall's ships were moving into what they clearly thought was an attack formation. The Veltharian vessels were impressive by normal standards, massive, heavily armed, and protected by shields that could deflect most known weapons. Commander Sung-ho was coordinating with ship captains throughout the system. "Captain Wei-min, position your squadron at grid reference 77 Alpha. Captain Yun-hai, take your ships to protect the mining stations. Remember, we want to disable, not destroy." Lieutenant Ki-jun looked confused. "Sir, why are you trying not to destroy them? They're planning to wipe out your entire civilization," Admiral Hyun-woo answered without taking her eyes off the tactical display. "Because, Lieutenant, we're not them. We don't solve problems by murdering anyone who disagrees with us. But that doesn't mean we won't defend ourselves." The first test came sooner than expected. Admiral Crixtall, apparently frustrated by the loss of his fighter squadrons, ordered his main ships to begin bombing what he thought were vulnerable targets on the outer edge of the system. "Multiple plasma cannon strikes incoming," Dr. Minseok announced, "targeting our mining platforms in the asteroid belt." "Shields up," General Hyunwoo ordered. What happened next was like watching magic. The plasma bolts from the Confederation ships struck what appeared to be empty space and simply vanished. No explosions, no energy release, no damage. The deadly weapons fire just ceased to exist. "Reality anchors," Engineer Taman explained to the stunned visitors. "We've learned to create small pockets of space where the normal laws of physics work differently. Weapons that rely on energy transfer simply can't function in those zones." Admiral Krikstal's response was immediate and predictable. If energy weapons didn't work, he would try kinetic weapons. His ships launched dozens of missiles designed to destroy targets through pure physical impact. The missiles got about halfway to their targets before they began moving backward. "Gravity manipulation," Dr. Minseok said casually. "We've reversed the gravitational field around the missiles. They're now being pulled away from their targets with the same force they were approaching." Captain Daeho watched in amazement as the Confederation missiles were drawn into a collection point where they were safely dismantled by automated systems. "This is impossible," Admiral Krikstal's voice came over the communication channel. "No species has this level of technological development. You must be using weapons supplied by enemies of the Confederation." Bo-Ra activated the response channel. "Admiral, everything you see was developed by human scientists and engineers. We've had 3 centuries to advance beyond the limitations that the Confederation places on member species." "I don't believe you," Krikstal replied. "Humans are incapable of this level of innovation. You are clearly being manipulated by hostile aliens who want to use you against the Confederation." General Hyunwoo stepped forward. "Admiral, you've now attacked our installations twice without success. I suggest you reconsider your position before we demonstrate our offensive capabilities." There was a long pause before Krikstal responded. "You threaten me. You dare threaten a Confederation admiral with your stolen technology and alien puppet masters?" "No threats," Bo-Ra said calmly. "Facts. You have 36 hours to leave our system. If you choose to continue your attacks, we will defend ourselves with whatever force is necessary." The alien admiral's response was to order a full assault on what he perceived as the colonists' main weakness: their population centers. His 3 ships moved toward the inhabited planets, weapons charging for a bombardment that would kill millions. That was when the Free Human Republic revealed its true strength. "Admiral Hyunwoo," Bo-Ra said quietly, "show him what happens when humans get angry." The space around Admiral Krikstal's ships suddenly filled with human vessels that hadn't been there a moment before. Not 200 ships, as the tactical displays had shown, but over 500. The rest had been hidden in dimensional pockets, waiting for this moment. "Full stealth fleet deployment," Commander Sung-Ho announced. "Every ship in the system is now visible and armed." But the most impressive sight was the weapons themselves. Instead of conventional energy beams or missiles, the human ships fired what looked like ribbons of twisted space. When these weapons struck the Confederation vessels, they didn't damage the ships. They changed them. Admiral Krikstal's flagship suddenly found itself unable to maintain course. Its weapons wouldn't fire. Its shields fluctuated wildly. The ship was still intact, but it was no longer functional as a warship. "Molecular restructuring beams," Engineer Taman explained. "We've altered the atomic structure of their weapons and propulsion systems. The ships are now essentially very expensive pieces of space junk." The same thing happened to the other 2 Confederation ships. Within minutes, 3 of the most powerful. Vessels in the known galaxy had been reduced to helpless hulks without a single life lost. Dr. Hana was frantically trying to understand what she was seeing. This technology. It's like you've learned to rewrite the laws of physics at will. Not rewrite, Dr. Minseok corrected. We've learned to work with laws that the rest of the galaxy doesn't know exist. Reality is much more flexible than most species believe. Admiral Krikstal's voice came over the communication channel, but this time it carried none of its earlier arrogance. What? What have you done to my ships? We've disabled them without harming your crews, Bo-Ra replied. Your weapons and engines have been restructured at the molecular level. They can be repaired, but it will take time and effort. This is an act of war against the Galactic Confederation, Krikstal said, but his voice shook with uncertainty. No, Admiral, General Hyunwoo replied. This is self-defense against an unprovoked attack on a sovereign human territory. You fired on our installations. You attempted to bombard our population centers. We responded with minimum necessary force. Bo-Ra activated the system-wide communication channel again. Citizens of the Free Human Republic, the immediate threat has been neutralized. Our homes are safe, our people are safe, and the galaxy now knows that humanity will no longer accept the role of junior partner in galactic civilization. Captain Daeho looked around the command center at faces that showed relief, pride, and determination. These people had just accomplished something that would have been considered impossible. They had defeated a Confederation fleet without firing a single shot in anger. What happens now? He asked Bo-Ra. The administrator smiled, but it wasn't a happy expression. Now, Captain W. Ambassador Ji-Hai sat in her office on Earth, staring at a communication from the Galactic Confederation that made no sense. According to the message, a human colony armed with impossible technology had attacked and disabled a Confederation fleet in the Kepler 442 system. The report claimed that humans were using reality-warping weapons and had issued demands for recognition as an independent power. This has to be a mistake, she said to her aide, a young man named Chang Min, who handled alien communications. There's no human colony in Kepler 442. Our records show that system as empty space. Chang Min pulled up the stellar database on his tablet. You're right, Ambassador. According to our files, no human ships have ever traveled to that system, but the Confederation is demanding an immediate explanation for what they're calling human aggression against lawful Confederation authority. Before Ji-Hai could respond, her communication console chimed with an incoming message marked as highest priority. The sender was listed as Administrator Bo-Ra, Free Human Republic, Kepler 442 System. Free Human Republic? Ji-Hai muttered as she opened the message. What she saw made her question everything she thought she knew about human space colonization. The message contained detailed star charts showing a thriving human civilization spanning 3 planets and dozens of space installations. Population records indicating over 50 million people. Industrial capacity reports that exceeded anything Earth had achieved. And most shocking of all, defensive capabilities that made the entire Earth fleet look like toys. Chang Min, Ji-Hai, said slowly, contact President Chan Wu immediately. Tell him we have a situation that could change everything. President Chan Wu of the Terran Republic arrived at the embassy within an hour, accompanied by General Tae-Young, the head of Earth's military forces. Both men looked confused and worried as Ji-Hai briefed them on the situation. Let me understand this correctly, President Chan Wu said. You're telling me that there's a human colony we've never heard of, with technology we can't understand, that just defeated a Confederation fleet? That's exactly what I'm telling you, HFY replied. And according to their message, they want to discuss the future of human-alien relations. General Tae Young was studying the technical specifications that had been included with the message. These power output readings can't be accurate. They're claiming individual ships with more firepower than our entire planetary defense grid. General, HFY said, the Confederation is demanding that we explain how humans acquired impossible weapons technology. They seem to believe we've been hiding advanced military capabilities. Before anyone could respond, Chang Min burst into the room with a look of panic on his face. Ambassador, you need to see this. We're receiving broadcasts from human colonies across this entire region of space. He activated the wall display, showing a map of known human settlements. Dozens of colonies were highlighted in red, indicating active communications. What are they saying? President Chan Wu asked. Chang Min played the first message. It came from the human colony on Ross 128, a world that had been under Regellian administration for 30 years. People of Ross 128, said a woman's voice. We have just received news that humans are not as weak as we've been told. A human colony called the Free Human Republic has defeated a Confederation fleet using technology that proves our species is capable of true independence. The message continued. For 30 years, we've accepted Rigellian control over our world because we believed humans needed their protection and guidance. We now know this was a lie. Humans are demanding self-governance, and we support this demand. President. Chan Wu looked pale. How many colonies are broadcasting similar messages? Chang Min checked his displays. 47 so far, sir. And the number is growing. General Tae Young activated his military communicator. Get me Admiral Soon Ho at Fleet Command. We may have a galaxy-wide crisis developing. Within minutes, Admiral Soon Ho appeared on the communication screen. She was a veteran of 3 alien conflicts and had never looked worried about anything. Today, she looked very worried. Mr. President, she said, we're receiving reports of civil unrest on human colonies throughout our sphere of influence. Colonists are demanding withdrawal of alien administrative personnel and recognition of human self-governance rights. How serious is the unrest? HFY asked. 6 colonies have declared independence in the last 2 hours, Admiral Soon Ho replied. Colonial governors are requesting military support to maintain order, and we're getting demands from a dozen. Alien governments for explanations about human military capabilities we don't understand. President Chan Wu rubbed his temples. Get me a direct communication with this Administrator Bora. If she started this, maybe she can help us control it. Chang Min worked at his console for several minutes before shaking his head. Sir, the Free Human Republic isn't accepting outside communications right now. They're dealing with incoming Confederation fleets. Multiple fleets? General Tae Young asked sharply. According to our long-range sensors, at least 12 major fleet groups are converging on the Kepler 442 system, Admiral Soon Ho reported. The Confederation is taking this very seriously. Ambassador HFY felt a chill run down her spine. If those fleets attack the Free Human Republic and lose, every human colony in the galaxy will declare independence. If they win and destroy the colony, every alien government will assume Earth was secretly supporting them. President Chan Wu stood up and began pacing. We need to send a diplomatic mission to this colony immediately. Find out what they want, what they're capable of, and whether they're willing to coordinate with Earth's government. Sir, General Tae Young interjected, sending a mission could be seen as supporting their rebellion against Confederation authority. That could make Earth a target. Not sending a mission could be worse, HFY pointed out. If other human colonies believe Earth is siding with alien governments against human independence, we could face rebellions on every world we administer. Admiral Soon-Ho's image flickered as new information appeared on her displays. Mr. President, I'm receiving a priority message from the colony on Kepler 452b. They're demanding immediate withdrawal of Centaurian oversight personnel and threatening to forcibly remove them if Earth doesn't support their independence claim. Chang Min looked up from his console with more bad news. Sir, the Centaurian government is demanding that Earth control its rebellious colonial populations or face economic sanctions. The situation was spiraling out of control faster than anyone had anticipated. What had started as a single incident in a distant star system was becoming a galaxy-wide crisis that threatened to tear apart centuries of carefully maintained diplomatic relationships. Ambassador, President Chan Wu said finally, prepare a message to all human colonies. Tell them that Earth is investigating the situation and asks for patience while we determine the facts. We need time to understand what we're dealing with. Ji-Hai nodded, but privately she wondered if they had any time left. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was being forced to choose between independence and security. General Tae-Young received another communication from his military staff. Mr. President, our intelligence services are reporting something interesting. The technology demonstrations from the Free Human Republic have been analyzed by every major alien government. None of them can explain how the weapons work. What does that mean? President Chan Wu asked. It means that either these humans have developed entirely new branches of science, or they've received help from someone with capabilities beyond any known species, Admiral Soon-Ho explained. Either possibility terrifies the Confederation. Leadership. Ambassador Ji-Hai realized the true scope of what was happening. They're not just afraid of human military technology. They're afraid that humans might actually be capable of true independence. For thousands of years, the Confederation has been built on the idea that some species need to be controlled and guided by others. And if humans can govern themselves and defend themselves, General Tae-Young continued, then other junior species might start asking why they can't do the same. Chang Min looked up from his console again. Ambassador, we're receiving a new message from the Free Human Republic. It's addressed to all human governments and colonies. Ji-Hai activated the main display. Administrator Bo-Ra appeared, looking calm and confident despite the massive alien fleets that were reportedly heading toward her system. To our fellow humans throughout the galaxy, Bo-Ra began, we know that our actions have created difficult situations for your governments and your people. We did not choose this conflict, but we will not back down from it. She paused, looking directly into the camera with eyes that showed no doubt or fear. For 3 centuries, humanity has accepted a secondary role in galactic civilization. We have been told that we need alien guidance, alien protection, alien permission to govern our own lives. Today, we prove that this was never true. The message continued. We call upon all humans to remember what our species is capable of when we work together. We call upon human governments to stand with their own people instead of alien masters. And we call upon the galaxy to recognize that humanity will no longer accept the role of junior partner in our own destiny. The transmission ended, leaving the room in silence. The Galactic Confederation Council Chamber had never seen an emergency session quite like this one. Representatives from 47 species filled the massive circular hall, their voices creating a cacophony of alien languages and emotional expressions. At the center of it all sat High Counselor Zeftar of the Zephyrian hegemony, the species that had dominated galactic politics for over 2,000 years. "Order!" Zeftar's voice boomed through the chamber's translation systems. "We will have order in this session." The noise gradually died down as species representatives took their designated positions. The human section was notably empty. Earth's ambassador G-High had not been invited to this emergency session. Counselor Vexnail of the Veltharian Empire stood to address the assembly. His forearms gestured dramatically as he spoke. "Fellow counselors, we face an unprecedented threat to galactic stability. A human colony armed with impossible weapons has attacked Confederation forces and declared independence from lawful authority. The humans call themselves the Free Human Republic," added Counselor Kelthar of the Rigelian Assembly. "They have broadcast inflammatory messages encouraging rebellion among human populations across dozens of worlds." High Counselor Zeftar activated the chamber's main display, showing tactical recordings from Admiral Krixtal's disabled fleet. The assembled aliens watched in stunned silence as human weapons seemed to bend reality itself, disabling advanced warships without conventional explosions or energy discharges. "Our scientists cannot explain these weapons," Zeftar announced. "The technology appears to manipulate fundamental forces in ways that should be impossible, according to established physics." Counselor Mordek of the Crystalline Collective, a silicon-based species known for their logical approach to problems, raised one of his crystal appendages. "High Counselor, have we considered the possibility that the humans have made genuine technological breakthroughs?" The question caused an uproar among several species representatives. The idea that humans, widely considered one of the galaxy's most primitive species, could develop technology beyond Confederation understanding was apparently unthinkable to many. "Impossible," declared Counselor Vexnail. "Human technological development has been carefully monitored for centuries. They lack the intellectual capacity for true innovation." "Then how do you explain what we've seen?" Mordek asked calmly. "The humans must have received assistance," suggested Counselor Yindar of the Aquatic Federation. "Perhaps from species beyond our current borders, or from enemies within our own territory." High Counselor Zeftar called for silence again. "Whatever the source of their technology, the threat is real and immediate. Human populations across 12 sectors are now in open rebellion. Colonial governments are requesting military intervention to maintain order." At that moment, the chamber's security systems announced an incoming vessel requesting emergency landing rights. The ship's identification codes showed it as belonging to the Free Human Republic. "They dare come here," Counselor Vexnail hissed. "To the heart of Confederation space? Let them come," Zeftar decided. "We will hear what they have to say before we decide their fate." 20 minutes later, the chamber doors opened to admit a human delegation. Counselor Insu walked at the head of the group, flanked by 2 military officers and a diplomatic aide. Insu was a middle-aged man with graying hair and the kind of steady confidence that came from representing a power that no longer feared anyone. "High Counselor," Insu said with a respectful bow that somehow managed to convey equality rather than submission. "I am Counselor Insu of the Free Human Republic. We appreciate your willingness to hear our position." "Your position?" Zeftar's voice carried the authority of 2 millennia of unquestioned dominance. "You have attacked Confederation forces and incited rebellion among subject populations. Your position is that of criminals awaiting judgment." Insu smiled calmly. "High Counselor, with respect, we have defended our homes against unprovoked attack and encouraged our fellow humans to remember their rights as sentient beings. We have committed no crimes except the crime of refusing to accept inferior status. The key chamber erupted in angry voices from dozens of species. The concept of a junior species challenging the established order was apparently offensive to many of the assembled representatives. Councillor Vexnail stood again, his forearms trembling with anger. Rights! Humans have no rights beyond those granted by the Confederation. You are a primitive species that requires guidance and supervision. Are we? Insu asked quietly. His aide activated a portable holographic projector that filled the center of the chamber with images of the Free Human Republic's achievements. Cities that rivaled anything in Confederation space. Technology that surpassed most species' capabilities. A thriving civilization that had built itself without alien assistance. For 300 years, Insu continued, my people developed in isolation, no alien guidance, no Confederation supervision, no restrictions on our research or development. And we not only survived, we flourished. Councillor Mordek studied the holographic displays with obvious interest. Your technological achievements are impressive. How did you overcome the limitations that have constrained other human colonies? Simple, Insu replied. We rejected the idea that limitations were necessary. When you tell a species they're too primitive to understand advanced science, they start to believe it. When you remove those artificial restrictions, you discover what they're really capable of. High Counselor Zeftar deactivated the holographic display with an angry gesture. Enough propaganda! What do you want from this council? Insu's expression grew serious. We want recognition of human sovereignty over all human-settled worlds. We want the immediate withdrawal of alien administrative personnel from human colonies. And we want equal representation in galactic governance. The demands caused another uproar. Several counselors began shouting at once, their translators struggling to keep up with the flood of angry responses. Preposterous, Councillor Vexnail declared. Humans are barely evolved beyond their primitive origins. You cannot seriously expect to be treated as equals to species with thousands of years of spacefaring experience. Can't we? Insu asked. He nodded to one of his military officers, who activated a communication device. The chamber's displays suddenly showed real-time images from across human space. On world after world, human populations were peacefully but firmly removing alien officials from their governments. Colonial assemblies were declaring independence. Human ships were escorting alien vessels away from human territory. This is happening right now, Insu announced. On 67 worlds, humans are reclaiming their right to self-governance. They're not asking for permission. They're simply taking what was always theirs. Admiral Young Sik, one of Insu's military escorts, stepped forward. Counselors, we have ships stationed throughout human space. Any attempt to forcibly suppress these independence movements will be met with military resistance. You threaten us? Zeftar's voice carried dangerous undertones. You dare threaten the Galactic Confederation? We threaten no one, Insu replied calmly. We simply state facts. Humans will no longer accept subjugation. We will defend ourselves and our right to independence with whatever force is necessary. Counselor. Kelthar of the Rigelian Assembly stood up. High Counselor, our intelligence reports indicate that human military technology is indeed far advanced beyond our previous assessments. Our colonies are reporting that human ships are systematically disabling our garrison forces without destroying them. They're showing restraint, Admiral Young Sik confirmed. We could destroy your forces, but we prefer to simply remove them from our territory. We're not interested in conquest or domination. We just want to be left alone to govern ourselves. Hi. Counselor Zeftar consulted with several other counselors in whispered conversations before addressing the chamber again. The Confederation cannot and will not recognize the legitimacy of this rebellion. Humans are not ready for independent governance. Your recent actions prove that you remain too impulsive and aggressive for full membership in galactic civilization. Insu nodded as if he had expected this response. High Counselor, we had hoped for a peaceful resolution. But we understand that some species learn only through experience. He activated his communication device again. Admiral Kyung-ho, implement Phase 2. The chamber's displays changed to show long-range tactical screens. Massive human fleets were emerging from hyperspace throughout Confederation territory, not attacking but positioning themselves to defend every human colony and installation. 600 ships, Admiral Young-sik announced. Our entire deep space fleet. They're not targeting Confederation installations, but they are protecting human interests. Any attack on human populations will be considered an act of war. The implications hit the assembled counselors like a physical blow. The humans weren't just claiming independence for a few colonies. They were effectively seceding from the Galactic Confederation entirely. Counselor Mordek spoke into the stunned silence. You're proposing to split the galaxy? No. Insu replied. We're proposing to create a partnership between equals instead of a hierarchy of masters and subjects. The Confederation can continue to govern non-human space. Fleet Admiral Kyung-ho stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, watching as the largest military force in galactic history approached the Sol system. 2,000 Confederation ships from dozens of species had assembled for what their commanders called the final solution to the human problem. Admiral, reported Captain Yoon-ji from the tactical station, Confederation forces are maintaining formation at the edge of the system. They're broadcasting surrender demands to Earth. Kyung-ho studied the enemy fleet on his main display. The alien commanders had clearly expected to intimidate Earth into submission through sheer numbers. They had not expected to find 500 ships of the Free Human Republic waiting for them. Open a channel to Earth Defense Command, Kyung-ho ordered. It's time to coordinate with our cousins. Commander Sol appeared on the communication screen. She was Earth's highest-ranking military officer, a veteran of 3 alien conflicts who had never imagined she would fight alongside humans from a hidden colony. Admiral Kyung-ho, Sol said formally, Earth Defense Forces are ready to coordinate. With your fleet, we have 200 ships prepared for battle. Commander Sol, Kyung-ho replied with respect. Today we prove that all humans can work together when our homes are threatened. Your people and mine will show the galaxy what unity looks like. Strategic Coordinator Yoon-ji, who had planned this entire operation, activated the tactical display that showed both fleets' positions. The Free Human Republic ships formed a protective barrier between Earth and the Confederation forces, while Earth's fleet provided support and local system knowledge. The alien plan is simple, Yoon-ji explained to both command staffs. Destroy Earth's government and military capability, then use the threat to Earth's population to force all human colonies into submission. Admiral Kyung-ho nodded grimly. They believe that breaking humanity's heart will break its spirit. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The first communication from the Confederation fleet came from High Admiral Zexkoth of the Draconian Imperial Navy. The reptilian aliens, Massive form dominated the communications screen as he delivered what was clearly intended as humanity's final ultimatum. "Human forces," Zexkoth said in a voice that had terrorized dozens of species. "You are outnumbered 4-1 by the finest military fleets in the galaxy. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick. Continue to resist and we will make Earth's destruction visible from every human world as an example." Admiral Kyung-ho responded calmly. "Hi, Admiral. This is Fleet Admiral Kyung-ho of the Free Human Republic. We offer you one opportunity to withdraw from this system peacefully. Refuse, and you will discover why isolating humanity from the galaxy was the Confederation's greatest mistake." Zexkoth's laugh was like the sound of rocks grinding together. "You think your stolen technology can stand against the combined might of galactic civilization? We have fought wars for thousands of years. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. What can humans do that we have not seen before?" "You're about to find out," Commander Saul interjected from Earth Defense. "All human forces, prepare to demonstrate what 3 centuries of innovation looks like." The battle began when the Confederation fleet launched its first wave of attacks. Energy beams that could crack planets struck the human defensive lines. Missiles capable of destroying entire cities streaked through space toward Earth itself. None of them reached their targets. Captain Yunji had spent months preparing for this moment. As the enemy weapons approached, space itself seemed to twist and bend around the human ships. Reality anchors created zones where the laws of physics worked differently, causing energy beams to curve away harmlessly. Gravity manipulation fields caught incoming missiles and redirected them back toward their launchers. "Impossible," High Admiral Zexkoth muttered as his own weapons struck his own ships. "Physics," Admiral Kyung-ho corrected. "Just physics you don't understand yet." The human counterattack was devastating in its precision. Instead of trying to destroy the massive Confederation fleet, the human ships targeted specific systems on each enemy vessel. Weapons that could restructure matter at the molecular level disabled engines, weapons, and shields without harming the crews inside. Engineer Hae-jin, monitoring the battle from the Indomitable's engineering section, reported, "The progress. Admiral, we've disabled 40% of their fleet, and they haven't managed to damage a single one of our ships." But Admiral Kyung-ho knew that numbers alone wouldn't end this conflict. The Confederation had to understand that attacking human space was not just futile. It was catastrophic for anyone who tried it. "Yoon-ji," he said to his strategic coordinator, "implement the Solomon Protocol." Strategic coordinator. Yoon-ji smiled grimly. "With pleasure, Admiral." What happened next redefined galactic warfare forever. The human ships didn't just defend the Sol system, they claimed it. Using technology that bordered on magic, they created a massive energy barrier around the entire solar system. Every Confederation ship found itself trapped inside a prison of twisted space-time. "What have you done?" High Admiral Zexkoth demanded as his fleet discovered it could no longer escape to hyperspace. "We've declared the Sol system under human protection," Admiral Kyung-ho replied. "Your ships are now our guests. They'll remain here until the Confederation agrees to recognize human independence." Commander Sol coordinated the Earth Defense Forces as they began systematically capturing disabled Confederation vessels. "All Earth ships, begin boarding operations. Priority is on command vessels and fleet communications equipment." The aliens had never experienced anything like this. Instead of the typical space battle where fleets destroyed each other until one side retreated, they found themselves being methodically captured by an enemy that seemed to control the very fabric of reality. Captain Minwoo, commanding the human ship Determination, reported from the front lines. Admiral, we've captured the Zephyrian command vessel. High Counselor Veltarn is requesting to speak with human leadership. Put him through, Admiral Kyung-ho ordered. High Counselor Veltarn appeared on the communications screen, his usually proud features showing confusion and fear. Admiral, this technology you're using, it violates everything we know about the fundamental laws of the universe. No, Counselor, Admiral Kyung-ho replied patiently. It proves that your understanding of those laws was incomplete. Humanity has had 3 centuries to explore the parts of reality you never imagined existed. Strategic Coordinator Yoon-ji brought up displays showing the scope of the human victory. Counselor, 80% of your invasion fleet has been captured or disabled. Your ships are trapped in our space. Your crews are unharmed, but entirely at our mercy. What do you want? Veltarn asked quietly. The same thing we've wanted from the beginning, Commander Sol answered from Earth Defense. Recognition of human sovereignty and the right to govern ourselves. Captain Yoon-ji was monitoring communications throughout the battle zone. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from 12 different alien fleet commanders. They want to know what terms we're offering. Admiral Kyung-ho considered the question carefully. Tell them that any ship that powers down its weapons and accepts human escort will be allowed to leave the system safely. Any ship that continues to fight will be permanently disabled. The response was immediate. Throughout the trapped Confederation, fleet alien commanders made the same calculation. Continuing to fight was pointless when the enemy could manipulate reality itself. High Admiral Zexkoth was one of the last to surrender, his draconian pride warring with tactical reality. This isn't over, he growled as his ship powered down its weapons. The Confederation will never accept human equality. The Confederation will accept whatever reality we choose to create, Admiral Kyung-ho replied. Today we've shown that humans can defend themselves. Tomorrow, we'll show that we can govern ourselves. Within 6 hours, the largest military force in galactic history had been defeated without a single human casualty. More importantly, they had been defeated so thoroughly that every alien government would have to reconsider everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. Commander, Sol opened a channel to all human forces. All Earth and Free Republic ships, the Sol system is secure. Humanity's home is safe. Strategic Coordinator Yoon-ji was already planning the next phase. Admiral, we're receiving reports from human colonies throughout the galaxy. News of our victory is spreading faster than the Confederation can suppress it. Good, Admiral Kyung-ho said with satisfaction. Let them know that humanity is no longer asking for permission to exist. We're taking our place as equals in galactic civilization. As the captured Confederation ships were escorted out of the Sol system, every alien crew member carried the same message back to their home governments. Humanity was no longer the weak species that needed protection and guidance. They had become a power that could reshape the galaxy itself. The question now was what humanity would do with that power, and whether the rest of the galaxy would learn to live with equals instead of subjects. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, President Bora stood in the newly constructed Terran Federation Council chamber, looking out at representatives from 127 human worlds. The chamber was built in orbit around Earth, a symbol of humanity's new unity and its position as an independent galactic power. Citizens of the Terran Federation, Bora began, addressing not just the assembled delegates, but billions of humans throughout known space. 6 months ago, we were scattered colonies seeking permission to exist from alien governments. Today, we are a united federation governing 12% of known space. The transformation had been remarkable. The Free Human Republic's victory at Sol had triggered a cascade of independence declarations across human space. Within weeks, every human colony had expelled alien administrators and declared self-governance. More importantly, they had done so peacefully, using the technological superiority demonstrated by the Free Human Republic to avoid bloodshed. Dr. Hana, now serving as the Federation's chief science officer, presented her report to the assembled delegates. The integration of Free Republic technology with Earth and colonial systems has exceeded all expectations. Our combined scientific capabilities now surpass those of any individual alien species. What she didn't say, but everyone understood, was that humanity's isolation had been its greatest blessing. While other species had stagnated within the Confederation's rigid hierarchies, humans had continued to innovate and dream of better possibilities. Ambassador Day-Ho, who had been appointed as the Federation's first diplomatic representative to alien governments, stood to address the assembly. Fellow humans, our independence has not gone unnoticed by the rest of the galaxy. We've received formal recognition from 43 alien governments, including some who were previously our strongest opponents. The political shift had been as dramatic as the technological one. The Confederation's humiliating defeat at Sol had shattered the myth of alien superiority that had dominated galactic politics for millennia. Suddenly, other junior species were questioning why they needed alien guidance, and several had begun demanding independence for themselves. Captain Day-Ho activated a holographic display showing the current political map of the galaxy. Large sections that had once been colored to show Confederation control now showed the independent territories of various species. The Aquatic Federation has granted independence to 6 species that were previously under their administration, he reported. The Crystalline Collective has begun treating their former subjects as equal partners. Even the Zephyrian hegemony has agreed to renegotiate their relationships with subject species. President Bora nodded with satisfaction. Change was inevitable once someone proved it was possible. We didn't just win our independence, we showed the entire galaxy that the old ways of thinking were outdated. General Hyun Woo, now commanding the Federation's combined military forces, presented the security report. Our defensive capabilities remain unmatched. More importantly, we've had no hostile incidents with alien governments for 3 months. They seem to have accepted that attacking human space is not worth the cost. The peace had come at a price, however. Several alien governments had initially attempted to enforce the old order through economic sanctions and diplomatic pressure. The Federation's response had been swift and effective. Complete economic independence. Engineer Taemin, now leading the Federation's industrial development program, explained how they had achieved this goal. Our quantum manufacturing systems can produce any material or product we need without relying on alien suppliers. We've actually become exporters of advanced technology to species that previously considered us primitive. The irony was not lost on anyone in the chamber. Humanity had gone from being considered the galaxy's weakest species to being one of its most technologically advanced in less than a year. Dr. Min Seok, heading the Federation's research division, provided an update on their ongoing scientific projects. We've established research partnerships with 12 alien species who want to learn from our technological innovations. The same species that once insisted we needed their guidance are now asking us to teach them. President Bora smiled at the reversal of fortune. Knowledge and innovation flow to where they're welcome and appreciated. For too long, the galaxy has been dominated by species that valued stability over progress. Admiral Kyung-ho appeared on the communication screen from his flagship, now patrolling the outer edges of human space. Mr. President, our exploration fleets have made contact with 3 more lost human colonies. Each one developed unique technologies during their isolation. Combined with our existing capabilities, humanity is becoming more powerful every month. This was perhaps the most significant discovery of all. The Free Human Republic hadn't been the only human colony to develop in isolation. Scattered throughout unexplored space were dozens of other human settlements, each one a treasure trove of innovation and advancement. Captain Minwoo, commanding one of the exploration fleets, provided details about the latest discoveries. The colony on Kepler 1649c developed biotechnology that can terraforming dead worlds in decades instead of centuries. The settlement on Wolf 1061c created artificial intelligence systems that exceed anything previously known. Each discovered colony added to humanity's growing technological advantage. More importantly, they added to humanity's confidence that they were not just capable of independence, they were capable of leadership. Counselor In-Soo, who had become the Federation's primary representative to alien governments, reported on the changing diplomatic landscape. 26 species have requested formal alliance agreements with the Terran Federation. They want access to our technology and protection from the traditional galactic powers. The request for protection was particularly significant. Species that had once looked to the Confederation for security were now turning to humanity. The galaxy's power structure was inverting itself as the former junior partner became the senior power. President Bora addressed this new responsibility directly. We will not repeat the Confederation's mistakes. Our alliances will be partnerships, between equals, not hierarchies of masters and subjects. Any species that wants to work with us is welcome, as long as they respect our principles of self-determination and mutual cooperation. Dr. Hana added an important scientific perspective. Our research shows that technological innovation is directly related to intellectual freedom. Species that are allowed to think and experiment without restrictions consistently outperform those operating under rigid oversight. This had become one of the Federation's core principles. Instead of controlling or limiting their alien allies, they encouraged experimentation and independent thinking. The result was a burst of innovation throughout their sphere of influence that exceeded anything seen in centuries. Engineer Tae Min provided a concrete example. The Rigelian colonies that joined our alliance have developed fusion technology that's 15% more efficient than anything they produced under Confederation oversight. Freedom makes people smarter. As the session continued, it became clear that humanity's revolution had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. They had not just achieved independence, they had become the foundation for a new kind of galactic civilization based on cooperation rather than domination. President Bora concluded the session with words that would be remembered for generations. 6 months ago, a hidden human colony emerged from isolation and shocked the galaxy by refusing to accept inferior status. Today, that same determination has created a new kind of galactic order where strength serves freedom instead of oppression. She paused, looking out at the representatives of humanity's new empire of cooperation. Our ancestors dreamed of reaching the stars. We have done more than that. We have made the stars safer for anyone who believes in the right to determine their own destiny. As the session ended and delegates returned to their home worlds, everyone understood that they had witnessed the birth of a new age. Humanity had gone from being the galaxy's weakest species to being its moral and technological leader, all because a small group of humans had refused to accept that impossible was anything more than a failure of imagination. The hidden colony that had shocked the galaxy by seizing a solar system had become the foundation of humanity's golden age among the stars. And this was only the beginning.